eventually found Oh, you already had me.
Good afternoon. At this time, we're going to call to order the Historic Preservation Commission meeting of July 22nd, 2025. It is 6 p.m. We're going to have a roll call. We'll go around the room, and I'd like to ask all members to introduce themselves, speaking into the microphone. I am Elizabeth Jones. I'm the chair.
Jane Camp.
Chuck Bradley.
And now, absent is Mark Hammis. And now we will ask the city staff to introduce themselves.
I'm Brad Kellner, Planning and Zoning Director.
Laura Powell, City Clerk.
Caitlin Stubbs, Executive Assistant.
Okay, next we have the approval of the agenda. Has everyone had a chance to review the agenda?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda as submitted?
I so move.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Motion carried. And next, we're going to have the approval of the minutes. Has everyone had 25? No? Okay. Jane, did you have any changes? No? Okay. Do we have a motion to approve?
I move.
Do you have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carried. Next on the agenda, we have old business, and we only have one order of old business. That is from last month, June 24th. The commission meeting was not held due to a lack of commission members in attendance. Chuck Bradley and myself, Elizabeth Jones, we both attended. Mark Hamas and Jane Camp were absent. Laura Powell was not present because she took a position with the city, and that presented a conflict of interest. Since there was not a quorum to hear the agenda item, the COA was granted. Would you like to add anything, Brad?
Yeah, you had the two items for 229 East Marable and 231 East Marable. So you had two items, and both of those were approved by default.
Okay. That was the same constituent, correct?
Yeah, same applicant, same request, both were for fences. And the COAs were granted after the 45 days, once the meeting had passed. Yeah, but because there was no ability for the HPC to have a quorum, those items were granted based on the Code of Ordinances requirements for the 45 days lack of action by the HPC.
Okay. Any questions?
No.
Okay, thank you. And next on the agenda, we have new business. First item on the agenda is request for COA 307 Davis Street, remodel and exterior renovation. Brad, do you have anything up here?
Yeah, tonight, I mean, you can invite the applicant up if you like. I've just got their photographs up from their application, but I don't have much to present to you other than I've just provided you their slides. If they want to get up and give you their presentation, they can, but I've provided you everything on their slides that they had provided in the packet that shows the existing conditions of the dwelling, and then their proposed renovations, which are the basically representative renovations that are near, I believe, along Millage. And I think this is on Church. Could be wrong. But these are all on Millage right there. So that's what the applicant's proposing, is just to do something similar to the corner there on Davis Millage. So that's really all I've got.
I'd like to invite the applicants to come forward. Are they present? Okay. We will wait just a second if that's okay with everyone. I think he's signing in, looks like. Okay. We are just on your agenda. We'd like it. You are fine. If you want to go ahead and approach and tell us a little bit about your project.
Good evening, everybody. Sorry for my tardiness. We own a home at 307 Davis, as you're aware. We, Robbie, myself, who is part of the contracting group and the general contracting for it, are interested in doing a renovation to it, consistent with what's been going on up and down Davis Street and along Bell and the street before us. Excuse me, I'm not remembering.
Collie? Collie?
Yes. And we would like to do same, we're conforming to what has already been developing all around. Yes, there was a rental house at one time. And I'm willing to put the significant effort of dollars to it to bring it back to the consistency of the upgrades that are there. There's nothing there that wouldn't look the same. General construction is all the same. The materials are all the same. The type of windowing, frames, the siding, all of that is conforming to everything up and down what's been allowed to go on.
Hey, did you have anything else you wanted to add before we started discussion?
I'm open for any questions or any comments that anybody would like to present.
Okay. I did want to, let's see, I wanted to read a couple of things, and then I wanted to read your scope of work, and then open up the floor to the panel and ask if anybody had any questions. Does that sound good? Okay. So it looked like, when I looked this house up, it looked like it was built in 1920. Does that sound right to you?
I would be
It's okay, that's fine, that's fine. So that's what I'm just going by what I looked up. And I copied a few of the standards from the Preservation Primer and the Secretary of Interior Standards for Historic Preservation that I wanted to read before we started our discussion, because I think it's important to keep them in mind. The standards in the Preservation Primer, one of the standards in the Preservation Primer states, it's important, the recognition of important original elements, historic materials, or distinctive architectural features of a property should be retained. So we have to keep that in mind. And quoting from the Secretary of the Interior Standards for Historic Preservation, distinctive features, finishes, and construction techniques or examples of craftsmanship that characterize a historic property shall be preserved, and deteriorated historic features shall be repaired rather than replaced. Where the severity of deterioration requires replacement of a distinctive feature, the new feature shall match the old in design, color, texture, or other visual qualities, and where possible, materials. Replacement of missing features shall be substantiated by documentary, physical, and pictorial evidence. Now, that being said, because, and I'm talking about the windows now, because large panes were expensive in the 1920s, multi-pane windows were more frequently seen. I did a little research on this. However, it is within reason. I know one of the ones you presented was, I want to say, 2/2 vertical, and I think it's within reason to believe that 2/2 vertical or even 1/1 panes could have existed on a vernacular house such as this. And I did see that you had submitted, that in some of your examples. It was less likely to see that because of the cost of the glass. They didn't want the sheets of glass, large sheets of glass during that time were more expensive. So you would see windows with more panes during that time. So you just didn't see it as frequently. But I think that it could happen. Now, when I look at the scope of work, it includes the following: complete removal of all existing siding, windows, doors, and roofing, installation of new Hardy-Backer siding and Cornish trim, refurbishment of the 2 existing diamond-shaped vents on the front facade, refurbishment of the existing transom window above the front door, and then I'm looking to see if I missed anything. I think that's everything. Is that correct? Okay. Do we have any questions on the panel?
I mean, I see you're thinking about it, if we had what was it, the 6x3 or
9 by 9?
The existing windows, I don't know, if those, those are probably more likely to be there.
Yes.
There's an example, one that is big, a single pane on the other side.
I did see that as well.
Yeah, so it makes me think, well, it could be. And I think, I think one way of addressing that would be do, I don't know, the term for those, the not, not a single piece, but then you have a little, the slats that on a surface.
Oh, the inlays,
Gosh, I wish I could.
to go over the window?
Yeah, but it's like, I wish I knew, I'm sorry that I can't remember the term, but the, I'm sorry, I don't have the, I can't remember.
What feature are you talking about?
Well,
Let me get to one that, let me see, like $1 million? Talking about $1 million?
yeah, and so that you can have, like, you passed it. Yeah, those about 3, but on the one on the side, you can't really see that. On the other, there's a previous page.
Tell me which one.
Yeah, on the side.
There it is.
You can see that one actually as a single pane.
Is that a newer
Yeah,
window or an
all
older
those-
window?
Excuse me, I want to clarify. All those windows that you see right there around all that vinyl, And the vinyl was not original 1920.
Right, that's older. Those are newer windows.
Those windows are replacement windows. Those are not
Right.
antique, circa
Yeah.
1923.
Okay.
We are proposing, just as you see on the examples that we have presented, to be conforming to solid pane windows, which gives the, impression is not a good word, but it gives consistency to what everybody else in that neighborhood. Now, you will find maybe one or two that have used some form of a quote-unquote vinyl paint out, like that one to the left, that has some kind of parallel frame out.
Right.
But in general, the older slash consistency is a single kit, single window kit. Or there are some that have the crossings and stuff like that.
I think for the 20s, I think for the late 20s, you would see the single pane over the single pane occasionally. In the higher, when people had more money, I'm saying you can't rule it out. You would see it where people would spend more money. You would see it. So, I mean, I'm not going to say no to that. I would prefer to see more panes in it, you know, like something like the 2/2 or even more panes, you know, I mean, but I'm not going to say you wouldn't see it.
I'm dating myself here, but I've been in and around for 35 years, and I've seen original, those gaslight type windows that were single. And unfortunately, over time, the deterioration, weather,
Right.
whatever you want to call it, damage, we lose them.
Well, I think too, on a house of this style, I think you would have seen them sometimes.
I understand what you're just saying, because I thought about that too, but given like my house as an example, I live at Church and Millage, and mine does not have that.
Right.
And despite, you know, 1900, and it's, you see, I think that most these days are more likely to just use a single pane unless doing the superficial mullets, or mullins on that
Over on the top of it, right. I know what you're saying.
And that, you know, maybe if that could, you know, that might be a good thing to do, without, you know, having to spend as much money for that. But it might look, but it's not a requirement, I don't believe. That's my opinion.
Shane, what are your thoughts?
So Chuck is saying 2/1.
No, I wish I could.
He's saying it's almost like an inlay over it. It's not, it doesn't go like through the window. It's like it's more inexpensive because it's like, we've recommended that before, Brad, you know, where it's like almost like an inlay that's put over it to make it look like, you know, I think we did that once before when it was like a 4/4. You remember?
Yeah, like if you had just a
And it's really a 1/1, but it's got like a 4/4 inlay. You know what I mean?
Yep, and all I would ask for you guys, because there were so many varieties of examples, you know, for confusion's sake, because when this gets, whatever HPC decides to do, if you make a motion, please be clear in whatever you decide to do with the windows, because when he goes to pull his permit, you know, when Kathleen's trying to figure out what the heck's going on here, whoops, it just shot forward on me. Anyway, yeah, that way we're clear on whatever style of windows y'all are asking him to put in, that it's consistent throughout the structure itself, that it's clear in your motion, whatever you guys do decide. Because all these representative photographs will be in the file, and we want to make sure that,
I think I would be okay with a 1/1 or 2/2 if it was vertical. But I mean, what are your thoughts?
I think either one. I like 1/1.
Yeah, I think it would be okay as long as they all matched, everything was, you know, consistent. I'd be okay with that. Are you okay with that? I think it would be fine. I mean, I think we can keep it consistent even throughout the house. I think, yeah, I don't have a problem with it. Okay, let's look at the rest of the list. Do we want to do this one at a time, or do we want to? Let's just, yeah, let's go through the list and then we'll come up with a motion. Let's see. So, the Hardy Backer siding and Cornish trim, how do we feel about that? Any questions? Are you good? Any questions?
I'm good with it.
Okay. Refurbishment of the two existing diamond-shaped vents on the front facade. Are you doing them back just like they are? Everything back like it is? Okay. Refurbishment of the existing transom window above the front door. We have a picture of that one?
You have that already.
It's hard to see in this photograph, but I know I've got, in the Q Public photograph, you can see it's a 3-pane transom, is that right?
Okay, so we're gonna make it just like it was? Okay, everything will be the same. Okay, is there anything that we're missing here then? Is everything? Okay. I'm gonna ask, I guess I'll ask out here, are there any questions? Do y'all have any questions before we make a final motion? No? Okay. Okay, so when we make this motion, we need to be very specific and with the windows and say exactly what we're saying with the windows and then mention everything else in here, you know, as it is listed in the application. So do I have a motion?
I move.
Should I read out the,
Do you want to make the motion?
I will, about the scope of work, including,
Uh-huh.
okay. I make a motion that we complete removal of all existing siding, windows, doors, and roofing, installation of new Hardy Backer siding and Cornish trim, refurbishment of the two existing diamond-shaped vents on the front facade, refurbishment of the existing transom window above the front door. I believe that's all.
Okay, and then I think you need to state the
Just for the
window.
window style, please.
State the window style.
The window style would be 1/1.
Thank you.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion carried. Thank you so much, we appreciate you. All right, next on the agenda, we have 315 South Madison, office retail space, renovation and parking lot. Do I have somebody here for that one? You want to come on up? Hello.
I'm gonna do the same thing if that's okay.
Okay, that is perfect.
I'm just gonna, I've got all of their proposed photographs loaded up from their application.
Okay.
And it's all in order too. That's all, if you want to go through your order of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I've got them all queued up just like
Okay.
that. So I'll let you have it.
If y'all just want to introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about your project, and then I'll go over just a couple of basics, and then we'll go through questions. How about that?
I'm Paris Pignew. I own 315 South Madison. This is Russell Page, my contractor. I just would like to revamp the property into retail and office space. This is my mother, Joy Pignew. She's 313 South Madison. We're kind of the team near. We've met with Brad and we've discussed the parking lot, and we'll be wanting to share a park lot in the back. So, basically, we plan on, the pictures and examples, we really plan on keeping the houses like they look. We don't plan on painting them any crazy color, or we're not adding anything to the properties. So.
The house at your address,
270, or where I live.
the house is 217 on East Miracle Street. This is a house that I had a privilege of renovating it, the little blue house right beside the water treatment facility. If you see that house, when I say they have class, they do have class, and it's an enjoyment to work with these ladies, and meaning that, I can't wait to see the progress, the finish of it, so it's gonna be nice.
Thank you very much. Did y'all have anything else you wanted to add before I? Okay, we'll ask more questions. You'll have more
Okay.
time to talk, so hang.
Okay.
Okay. So it looked like these were built in 1910 when I looked them up, circa. I wanted to mention a couple of things, and I like to read these things out just for the record. They may or may not pertain as we continue. The standards, like I read before, it's important to retain important original elements, historic materials, or distinctive architectural features of a property. So we want to retain those. Stylistic features of a property should be respected and retained. That's repeated again. And the preservation axiom: preserve rather than repair, repair rather than replace, and if replacement is necessary, duplicate the missing feature, holds true in all preservation projects. In summary, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I mentioned that a little bit because I do see that you were thinking about the shaker shingles, and I'm not really against those because I know it's not that they're inappropriate really, it's that they're not part of the original, and so I almost feel like, well, what's the purpose of adding something that's not part of the original? But that's just my take on it. But other than that, I'm going to turn it over to the panel for questions.
I also, I said that the shaker shingles was my biggest opposition. I live just around the corner, and I've seen the process, and I'm loving it. I'm glad to see it get better, refurbished. But the shaker shingles do seem to be out of place.
To me, they take away from the historic features and value of the house.
I think the question is because it was Arnold Properties, and Arnold Properties put vinyl siding around the exterior of the home itself. So that was the question, with Miss. This is addressing 313 with hers. I think Miss Clarissa's going to pretty much keep everything as you see now. That question was because it's got vinyl siding from Arnold Properties, so that she was just trying to give it a little dress up and give it a little feature.
Were you wanting to make them both match?
Well, I don't.
I would like to keep the properties matching as
Gotcha,
much as
okay.
possible. So as far as the shaker, I don't want to speak for you. That was, that's not, if you guys don't. Yeah.
Okay.
I just think it takes away the integrity of the house.
I do want to commend you though on I like the handicap ramp. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so is the ramp just on one of them?
Both of them, right?
Because I'm looking at the pictures, I thought that was it not on both?
Are you addressing 315 or 313?
Right now, you're only on 315.
Okay.
So the 315.
Yeah. I mean, you can talk about both. I mean, I didn't prepare a formal presentation for both, but you're really only, you could talk about both because they really are kind of hinged together, but you're going to have to act on them separately. I mean,
I was looking at the pictures and it looked like there was a ramp.
I mean, these both, because this is basically one project for two different owners. They're kind of hinged together.
Gotcha.
I mean, you've been discussing both applications really in your topic with them now. You just need to act on both applications separately. And the only thing I would mention too, and I didn't discuss this, I mean, now that we're having a conversation, you can see the parking lot they're proposing to join the sites together basically. And I've taken a look at this and I've worked with Clarissa's engineer. And so, I mean, this would meet our code. It's a one-way in, one-way out parking lot, and it meets the minimums for the form-based code. And she has tight constraints, she has very limited abilities. Probably one of the few ones that has this ability. She has these easements that we found from the 100 years ago that were luckily on the property. Otherwise, if that were not located or found, I think that we would all be scratching our heads trying to figure out how the heck do you deal with these properties. But there are these old easements that were straddling the property lines 5 feet on each side, so it grants her the ability to get into the property itself. So, and then Clarissa's property, the 315, has a bigger expanse on the back of it, which enables more parking for it. And the way the form-based code works is that parking across the street in the town green on South Madison is able to be counted towards some of her minimums. She needs 2 more spaces, but there's a proximity allowance for parking. So she meets all of the minimums of the zoning ordinance and things of that
Perfect.
nature. So, I mean, from the code standpoint, that parking lot's fine. It's just whether or not you guys want to permit it or not. She's proposing hardscape, and it will meet our code, and I think they've been working with Chris Croy and some other issues, trying to get the drainage to connect and all that kind of stuff, so.
So for, can we look at the elevation for we're 315, right?
Well,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm sorry, and I did not include this in your packet.
Okay.
This was not in your
yeah,
packet, and I apologize,
Oh, okay, yeah. So on
but she was
that
not proposing any changes to it that I'm aware of. This was gonna stay the same.
on the upper right, it shows the lower window. Is that not where is the doorway? Right. So I guess, are you saying that will the window be there or the doorway be there?
Yeah, it's number 7, if I'm not mistaken.
So which one is gonna be there after? Okay. Okay. Right. Okay, so the elevation there is not accurate anymore. Yeah. Okay, okay, and the lower left, the rear elevation, is there going to be a doorway there? Okay, because I thought I saw that in the,
Right there. Trying to get it to go back.
okay, I guess, I don't know if on the original application, there was another door. I'm sorry, that's not visible at this point, because.
you look through your pictures there, is it not there?
Oh, yeah, I guess, there we go, 6.
Ah, yes.
That's not the same location.
That's part of this application.
That's the bump out.
Oh, gotcha, okay. I guess that's what he's asking,
Yeah,
where
that's-
is
so that's-
that door?
All right, so
Sorry.
I mean, we're not talking about the same door here. That's a different door. So this is where the window
know it's
was.
not that
Yeah, let me go back to the elevation here. That door is right here, if I'm not mistaken. Or the left. I'm sorry, what? Upper right. Right here?
There's 2 doors, the one where you just had where I call it where the block foundation, there's the original door that when she purchased the property from Sam Davis, that door was originally there.
Okay.
The door that was put in is for the lower, yes.
So, is that shown in the elevations?
Right now,
is
saying
it
that-
going to be there?
I'm saying that door's right here, is it not?
Yes, sir.
So that is not correct yet? Okay, so there are two
Correct.
things not correct.
Original.
Okay,
Meaning that Sam Davis put that door in where that little bump out that, Brad, pointing at.
okay,
And when she purchased the property, that door was already there.
yeah. So, but I guess the elevations are still not, they're just not correct yet. I mean, I guess now I can't remember why I was asking. Oh, yeah, because, okay, so the handicapped accessible, is there going to be, I guess it'd be nice to see where, go on the site plan, to see where the, where, okay, it looks like the
Right. Yeah, that's in the description.
So
It's in the
now,
description.
now the handicap is just with 315? Okay.
313.
Yeah, they're saying, it's on here is 315,
well, there's both.
and what I'm looking at, and I
So
don't
the
see it on
handicapped
313.
accessible door that he just described is on 315.
315.
That is not a ramp. So I'm confused.
Oh, well, the,
So 315, just the handicap accessible with the door. I would like to keep both doors. The door that's more elevated, we'd like to put stairs there, because that's an office right there I'd like to have. So the door on below, around the parking lot is right there. I mean, the handicap space is right there. There will be handicap access from the parking lot to that downstairs door. So I would like to keep that is my handicap access for the into the downstairs, and then our handicap bathroom is right there.
okay.
But it will be handicap access for 313 as well, but for 315, that bottom door will be my handicap access.
That's right.
Just the handicap space right there in the parking lot is right there around the corner.
So there's no front entrance handicap.
No.
And so on 313, the ramp would be in the rear, based on the new description. That's correct?
It's on the,
Well, my handicap spot is in the back, and the ramp's gonna be to the side, to the front door.
So this is what I'm looking at. Revised description,
and I believe,
it-
let me know if I'm wrong, but I believe this is gonna be the ramp right here.
No, when I, with the 1 in 12, for it to be handicap accessible, we will not have enough elevation
handicap
for
ramp.
it. So the only possible way to make it work, even because of the front side, is we don't have about 16 foot from the corner of her property.
Everybody needs to take their position.
Sidewalk. So the only way that we can get her to have handicap accessible would be on the side entrance right here, yes.
You don't have enough room on that side unless you,
There's not enough.
So the only thing that we can ask from the city is for her to be able to meet code, if, it would be on the front side. We don't want to get turned down because, we only have 16 foot and the elevation is 22 feet, 22 inches. And we would have to have 22
put my glasses on so I can read this.
handicap.
Left side view. The plans are now to have the handicap ramp installed from the rear, since the space is in the back. I mean, it says this, plans are now to have the handicap ramp installed from the rear. That's in the back.
From the handicap space.
Well, rear reads rear. This is rear. So that tells me back here where this entrance is right here. That would be back here.
We meant the other side, if it's allowed. Now,
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. This is not an issue for me that I'm having a pain point with. If you want to put the ramp here, that's fine. You can put the ramp here, that's fine. This is not a problem. But when I read that, you sent to me, I'm like, okay, they want to put it in the back, no big deal. I thought you wanted to put it right there. When it said, we want to move it to the rear, I'm like, okay, they want to put it in the rear. It's not a big deal. It's the way that reads. Number, on 313, plans are now to have the handicap ramp installed from the rear, since the space is in the back. Access from the rear up along the side to the porch. That's what that reads to me to be right there. I'm not sure how else.
So I guess the confusion is up along the side to the front porch.
And there.
Okay, it doesn't say front porch.
There, I mean, the width of, a handicap,
Well, the ramp will have to meet the code, so I mean, they'll have to meet that when it gets to building code. They already know that.
And I know that's not part of HBC, so.
Yeah, you have to have, your fall, yep. And the only issue the side was, and I'm gonna look at the setbacks for CD4, it was the encroachment of the side setback. Those were built prior to the adoption of our form-based code.
Can we allow the handicap ramp? Well, can we make a
It's
statement?
attached to the primary
like-
structure, so it's gonna have to be it's gonna have to follow the principal building setbacks.
Can we say as allowable by code? And just kind of,
If you do that, then it's just gonna throw it off to the, I mean, it's not gonna help him.
okay, so we have to,
Doesn't give answers.
Nope, it's just gonna kick the can down the road, so let's see if we can look up and see, let's make sure what the, code requirements are on the, let's make sure that there could be some relief here, so let me look it up real quick while we got everybody in the room.
What are these two buildings going to be used for? Mhm.
It's gonna be retail space and also, office space.
Okay,
I'd like to have a retail space.
okay.
I'd like to keep it more office space. I'm building a conference room. So more, just plain.
Just office space, okay.
Just bear with me one second while this thing loads up. This is CD4, so there's some pretty generous setbacks in the new form-based code, so there may be some relief there. Because the first time that y'all submitted, the first handicap ramp was the side and the front, and that's where the tightness was. So you're talking about now in the back, where there's the bump out goes this way more on the screen. You're talking about here? Okay. Right, okay. Let me see, that dimension's more, because initially when I measured this too, it was tight. It was like 4.5 feet. And I know that you're gonna have to do more. Your decking and your woodwork, you were over the line, so I was like, there's no way he's gonna meet ADA and not encroach the property line. That wouldn't be a variance or anything, you would just be over the property line.
so that one won't work?
Well, now, the one in the front that they originally proposed that you guys have never seen, that was the one I asked them to change.
Okay.
So they're obviously making the change they're asking now, which some of the language in the application is what's confused me, so if they want to do it in the back on the side he's talking about, let me just make sure, because it looks like there may be more room there. It was just super tight in the front. I know what the dimension was. It was right under 5 feet. So if there's a zero setback here, that should be okay. You just don't want them to have, you don't want to make a condition that throws it into the code office's hands, and he comes in here and gets a building permit, and we tell him no, then he's stuck. And then they're trying to figure out what the heck to do with their handicap ramp. If he can't make the fall work in the front, then 313 is just kind of stuck with a pickle. So let's just make sure that we got them squared away. I want to say that the CD4 setback on side is extremely generous, I mean, almost zero. So let me just make sure. This thing is taking its sweet time loading up, so bear with me. I got Ozzy Osbourne's death notice on here is tearing up my
If the
computer here.
HVAC thing was not in the way.
There we go.
Seems like that would be a lot easier. And I don't know if that,
Could it be moved?
well, I mean, I know that would,
Good grief, will you please get off my screen?
you know, that's not a,
Yeah. Good grief, finally. Pay dirt, all right. Oh, we've got pay dirt.
yeah.
Digital plan for this, I don't have a digital plan, all I've got is that small copy in there. Yeah, just eyeballing this right now, if that, see that 5-foot dimension right here, I can just tell, I'm using my eyeballs right here without my glasses on. So if that's 5 feet right there, you should be fine. The side setback in CD4 is 0. And that's why you didn't have that, you didn't have this dimension right here. You can, I mean, you can tell with your eyes, that dimension did not fit right here. But you do right here.
But
You've got more than 5, you got more than 5 feet right here. So if you want to build the ramp here, I think you'll have plenty of rise. You're going to cut a door in sideways right here is what you're saying. No? You're not going to get up here to the porch. You're going to go over the property line and encroach the other property. This bump out here is less than 4 feet from this property line. Do you not, I mean, right off the top of my head, I'm going to say that with decking and all that, they're talking about a 48-inch spacing that the ramp has to have to meet ADA compliance. So that's a lot. And then the decking, you're going to talk about 5 feet of at least decking. And so, so I hear you on the issue with the side. That's what I'm saying is that much distance here, this bump out here is what keeps you from having to run it all the way up to the side right here.
I mean,
Well, I'm not gonna let you get that far. I mean, we're not gonna let you, I'm not gonna let you put footings in the ground and say this ain't gonna work, you know, right? That's not gonna happen. So why not the front? You can't do,
So on the front, we only have approximately about 15 feet from the front of the, corner of the porch to the sidewalk, there's only 15 feet. If you measure the ground level, it's, 21 inches. That means I have, that handicap to be, past code would have to be 21 feet long on a 1 in 12 slope.
but you can't you do it, can't you cut it and have a landing?
To the other sidewalk that's already there. There's a sidewalk that runs down parallel on South Madison Avenue that I was gonna, connect into the ramp from off of it. There's only still, like I said, not even 16 feet from that. The only possible way to make it work would be coming off the front, but I don't want to, do that and we get, the inspector says, it doesn't pass. So we're calling,
So you're telling, well, I hear what you're saying. So you're saying that you can't, you wanna come straight off of here? Tell me what you mean.
over
You
there
can-
on the porch, on the left-hand side, right there. From there,
You wanna come straight down?
yeah,
Right, right, I got that.
From the sidewalk itself, or 3 foot, from 3 foot to the edge right there, it's approximately 15 foot and a half, feet.
Well, that's just a straight up ramp. You're talking about a straight up ramp that has
But
a rise?
Yeah, where the porch is, from porch to the ground is 21 inches. That means I would have to have 21 feet of length to make it work.
Well, can you make one work like this where it has a rise, then a landing, then a rise?
If I have 21 feet, but only have 15 foot. So I'm 6 foot short on the front. If the house was set back another 6 foot, yes, we could.
I'm saying, can't the rise go to the porch itself and then rise again right in front of the porch and then land?
We don't have enough room.
I'm not following that one bit. I'm not following you one bit on that. I don't understand how you got more distance than the other house does from the front. I don't understand how you can't rise here, land, and then rise again and then land. You see what I'm saying? If you've got 15 feet and you need 21,
The only way that you're saying, then we would have to run a down across the front of the, front.
you would. That's what I'm saying, in order to meet code. I know that sounds terrible, and that's what,
I mean, that's up to the historical, seeing
I mean, yeah, but I mean,
walkway down.
I understand that, but if the spindle, this one had no historic spindles, I looked, this one had nothing.
It's the only way to make it accessible.
Yeah, this one had nothing, though. This one had a screened-in porch for a while. It had no historical anything for you guys to gauge anything on, so.
I think making it accessible takes, and up to code takes precedence, really. I mean,
No, because I mean, the sample that because I gave her that photograph of that ramp, so I mean, that came from me. So that she didn't throw that at you guys going, hey, this is historic in value. I was just like, hey, she needs a ramp. I threw that to Clarissa. I'm like, hey, are you okay with this ramp? They need to see a ramp that has railing that's wooden or whatever. And so that came from Brad. That didn't come from Clarissa because she needed to provide you a representative ramp.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's going to be weird and tight, and it's going to look wonky in the front. She's going to lose some of her face of her porch.
Well, I mean, do you want the ramp or do you not want the ramp? I guess is what it boils down
Well, I mean,
to.
it's either super expensive in the back where he can't make it work. You're not going to be a commercial building if you don't put a ramp in.
And I'll tell you, my suggestion,
I mean, we don't want that to happen. We want you to be able to, if you want to convert it, we want you to be able to accommodate that. It's just wonky, right? You know, I mean, it's going to look weird if we don't get you a ramp in there. And he knows physically it'll work, but it does take detract away from it.
No, because the incline will be too high. Won't work with code.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm with you on that.
when I get sent, I know, if I'm really thinking that figuring out what can be done to get rid of the HVAC, because I think there are options. And I know it's not easy with the handicap space, but maybe it takes changing the spaces, but that's possible. And it's a lot better than the removal of the historical value of the front. I mean,
So if you do it another way, then I guess the concern would be losing spaces. Is there another parking area in the area?
you know, I think there's a little bit of options. Can you show the site plan? You probably have to get rid of, this much space or something like that, because, using that as makes me think you could enter the ramp, go, and then, have a
They said that the HVAC equipment won't work there.
You have to do something else here, and maybe you just take two of these spaces, but you can have this space to do, to replace that, you know. I mean, I'm trying to do something quickly, but I realize so much, I think everything was done because the idea, the HVAC, it was in the way. But now you start over, not all the way over, but just the parking lot, and then I think it's possible to do without having to give up, with the elevation, I mean, the facade of this, building. I think that the other problem, what you're saying is because, what's the guy that did the site plan, said that, James said that the reason why we had to leave that one blank there, on the top left where your finger was, where the handicap is because we wouldn't have enough room for the car to back up.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So, yeah, that's a major problem is because it's called, you trap the vehicle here if they don't, this vehicle can't maneuver out of here if this gets moved around. Yeah, so,
And I'm dealing with the city, called the power company, the city of Monroe, because there's a telephone pole that needs to be moved from there and have power connected to the front. And I've called like several times and it's hard. But, to have that telephone pole moved out of the way, the car hitting it, losing the sand, knocking it over. I'm proposing to try to get that telephone pole moved out of the parking area.
yeah.
Brad, could we go ahead and approve the parking area and just that part of it, and then give them time to think about
Absolutely.
this? And then we could come back to this? Could we do that?
Yeah, because I mean, that helps advance the project. It helps both of them move forward with that part of it at least, so they can scheme out what needs to happen. I'm looking at the site plan for the parking, and I had actually mentioned to him, I mean, are there some alternatives here? They've packed it in pretty tight, and I think this is about as good as it's gonna get when it comes to the parking. They've accommodated 2 handicap spaces. I think with the square footage for both buildings, they probably only needed 1, for both. I mean, this probably could have been it. So, I mean, really, in reality, this may have been enough to accommodate handicap for both spaces, because I would consider, I know that these are 2 separate owners, it's 2 property lines, but it's okay to share parking in this manner. This is not an issue for the ordinance. So I think from a parking perspective, because of the number of spaces that are here, I think what he's done is, I'm talking about their engineer, he's provided a space on each property because that's probably an ADA requirement. But if I were to consider these as one project, it probably only needed 1 because of the number of spaces overall. So that may provide some flexibility here if that ends up being an issue, possibly if this ends up being a handicap space. It only gives them 4.5, 5 feet-ish right here. It doesn't really do much, but it does something. If the handicap ramp has to go in the back. Yeah, if you want to move forward and give them some opportunity so they can, at least it gets Clarissa and 315 some momentum moving forward, because they're working on that one right now, in the interior, or both of them in the interior right now, right? Both are having interior work moving forward, so it does help the project get some legs, and keep going forward, so that, I know that she's anxious to get the site work
Okay.
moving forward.
Then we could revisit this at the next meeting? Is that what we would want to do?
Sure, absolutely. If they can come up with something, let them take a look at it. Because, I mean, it's going to be hard to sit here and try to hash this out right here in front of everybody
This way we
tonight.
can kind of really think about it a little bit.
Yeah, and plus too, I mean, we're looking at the old survey too, and I didn't have a large copy. If you can shoot me the PDF from this, or have the surveyor send me the original, I can actually print out a scale version, and I can scale out some dimensions. It'll help. So we can start looking, because I was kind of odd gauging what I had based on what was submitted, so that may help. So we'll take a look at that side over here and what's going on. I can get with Pat and see what's going on here to see how we get around that side over there. Because I mean, there's not a need to get with Daniel South and buy, a couple of inches or an easement or anything crazy like that, I don't think.
I could see how it'd be frustrating though, because there's only like a few parking spaces. There's like, what, 7 there in the back, I mean, there's not many.
So I guess, Brad, you're saying that we can like regroup on the parking lot and regroup and only have 1 handicap space for
No, on the face, no, we can deal with that later. I say on the face, this body here can approve the ability to build a parking lot. And then I can take a look at the number of handicap spaces you need outside of this. That can be a site development thing we do with Pat. They don't have to worry about ADA compliance on the actual number of spaces. So no, you may only need one. I think the answer to the question is we can answer that later outside of HPC. You may only need one. You may only need one, so, and it may be that you can move that around somewhere and fiddle with the spaces where they're at. I'm sorry.
I can certainly visit, the possibility of moving the HVAC system.
Just going to remind me to do all this because I'm going to be disconnecting myself on Thursday for a week and a half.
If we don't have the handicap spot there, then surely there's enough room to build the handicap ramp there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
I
To honestly
think
tell you
ideally that would look better.
I can tell you, all of y'all, that retrofitting older structures for handicap, it's tough. Because we're dealing with another one that was approved by HPC that got approved with the site plan that they had. It was all nice and pretty, and the pain point right now is a ramp. And it's not that you have to have it. That's the pain point, is we got to get ADA compliance. If we don't, the city's probably going to get sued.
Well, it's
There's going to
important
be
to
an
be
issue.
inclusive.
It is.
They'll end up being an issue. It'll either be for the owner or it'll be for us, or both. There's going to end up being an issue eventually, if we don't tackle it right. I think there's probably an alternative solution, but if this body decides to make a motion and to approve, the main issue that I know 315 came here for was the parking lot. And the other renovations for 315. But yeah, and if you want to approve 313's renovations, bundle all that up and just leave the handicap ramp on the table for next month.
Okay, so for this motion, I'm going to ask one of y'all to make a motion, and for this motion, we're going to need, it can be for 315 and 313 together, and, let's see, it needs to be, let's see,
I'd make them separate.
okay,
Mine.
let's do one at a time. So it needs to be let's start with 315 South Madison, and it needs to approve the, I guess, Brad, how do you want to phrase it, the construction of the parking area?
Yep, that's fine.
And that we will revisit everything else addressed in the application on what date? Let's see. That would be on the next Preservation Commission meeting, which is the 26th of August. Would somebody like to make that
Don't have to worry
motion?
about the interior work. They
I
already
make
have
a
permit for
motion that we approve that they can build a parking lot.
And we will,
And the other scope of work,
And we'll address the other issues on the 27th,
so, but
on the 26th.
we need to,
26th.
I think we can go ahead and start, we can, do everything else, other than the,
Handicap. You can,
you're only taking a motion right now on 315.
We're making a motion on 315 right
You can approve everything for 315
oh, that's true.
as submitted.
Well, we said we were not, okay, so do we want to go down the list for 315?
Yeah, everything for 315 was not an issue.
Well, we
Yeah,
said we
didn't have
weren't going to do the shingles, so. or
Yeah,
y'all said
she's
you were not
Oh,
taking that
gonna
off
do
the
shingles.
table, so if you
Take that
want
off
to
the
say
table.
excluding that, which I don't, yeah.
So everything else on here is good?
yes.
Okay, do you want to say, do you want to rephrase the motion?
I make a motion that they can construct a parking lot and that everything except for the Shaker shingles on Building 315 can be approved.
And we will revisit.
And we will revisit on August 26th,
The handicap ramp.
the handicap.
It's only on 313.
Oh, okay, so that's not,
Only on
We're
313.
not doing 313,
I
we're
gotcha.
doing 315. You're
Yeah.
confusing
okay,
me.
the pictures here confuse me, sorry.
Yeah, 315 is gold. You're good on 315.
Okay, do I have a second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, now let's do 313. Do I have a motion for 313?
They can, I make a motion that they can build a parking lot, and everything else will be addressed at the August 26th meeting. Is that enough?
Do I have a second?
Sorry. Is it, I think the only thing that we need to do is everything else within the structure can be done from now
For 313?
for 313. But the handicap access will be done in the next meeting. Is that right?
That's
it.
what we're saying. So can I get one of y'all to state that in a motion?
Sorry, I can't speak. I make a motion that with the exception of the shaker shingles, and everything is approved, with the, until the next meeting, we'll address the handicap access.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you guys so much. See you guys on the 26th, August 26th. Thanks so much. All right, let's move along to our adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Do we have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This concludes the HPC meeting of July 22nd, 2025. We are adjourned.
My iPad.